Starting lineup, uniforms, and apparel present the WOA Senior AA Men's Hockey League podcast. Hello once again, everybody. Andrew Rogers here, the host of the WOAA Senior AA Men's Hockey League podcast. It's great to be back with you once again. It's Wednesday, June the 3rd. I want to give a big shout out off the top to Mitch Scott, the creator, owner of Starting Lineup, Uniform, and Apparel, for being our presented sponsor. Thank you very much, Mitch, for all the hard work that you do. Keep up the good work, pal. On our last episode of the podcast, we had Petrolia Squires assistant coach Jake Prudhomme on, and it was wonderful to talk with him. Wonderful to get his thoughts on the Squires season that came and went. And it was just great to talk to him in general. Great dude, and we look forward to having him on again. In terms of how we move on going forward, not a lot of change in the world, I guess. Things are, crazy as always, and you know what? I mean, you guys have seen the news. You guys know what's going on. You know all the craziness and behind it, and I think I speak for everybody involved where we just want to get back to normal. Whatever that new normal is going to be, it's going to be nothing like the old normal. I think we all understand that at this point. But what's happening is just it's very saddening, and it'd just be nice to be able to get back to the way things were once, if we can get some sort of a semblance into that moving forward. But anyway, speaking of moving forward, that's what we have to do on the on and up here. On today's episode, it's actually kind of nice. We have the Swartzentruber brothers, Chad and Reid from Lucknow and Chad from Tillsonburg. It's not often that you get to speak to brothers in terms of this league, but it's even neater when it's when two players are brothers and they play on opposite teams. This is going to be really interesting just to speak with them about the league, about their respective teams, and I think we can have a real good fun time with it. Like I say, anytime you get two brothers together, it could make for an interesting discussion. So I look forward to having them on. They're going to be on here shortly. Upcoming after this episode, number 13 in the series, we have on Friday Scott Stafford of the Tillsonburg Thunder. Very excited to speak with him. On the following episode after Fridays will be this upcoming Monday. We have Brad Crisco coming on from the Milverton four-wheel drives. It'll be interesting to speak with him. And then a week from Friday, we have Greg Dodds coming on from the Clinton Radars. There's also a spot in between there where we haven't confirmed a guest yet. That'll be a week from today, next Wednesday. If you want to be on the show, by all means, reach out to me and we'll set something up. I'm always looking for guests. I always want to come on. Like, if you want to come on and shoot the breeze about sports and about the WOA Senior A, AA Men's Hockey League, or hockey in general, you want to just shoot the breeze with me, by all means, I'd be more than happy to have you on, and we can do just that. We could talk about the team you played for and everything else. So by all means, don't hesitate to reach out to me. It should be a blast to speak with you. So like I said, today's episode, number 13, features the Swartzentruber brothers, Reid and Chad, and we welcome them in now at this time on the WOA Senior AA Men's Hockey League podcast, episode number 13. I want to take this opportunity to welcome in our guests at this time. We have a real special treat for you. It's the Swartzentruber brothers, Chad Swartzentruber from the Tillsonburg Thunder, and Reid Swartzentruber from the Lucknow Lancers. Guys, thank you very much for being on the podcast. Great to have you here.
Thanks for having us.
So, guys, the first question I'd like to ask everybody is, because obviously COVID hit everybody a bit differently. I just wanted the first question to be how you guys are doing. How you guys keeping? Has it affected you differently than others? How you guys been through all this pandemonium, I guess?
I'll let the senior go first.
It's been different, but it hasn't been too bad. I've kind of been kept busy the whole time. I have Tommy Lee, our goaltender from Tillsonburg, working with me, and we've been basically hard at it since the COVID hit. We haven't slowed down. We maybe had a couple days off, but other than that, it's like normal life for us. Other than supplies are a little hard to get at this time. Other than that, it's really not too much has changed for me at this end.
Right on. Reid, what about you, pal?
Yeah, just life is normal, kind of, except just hanging out with friends. I guess you're only allowed to go with 5 people, but like the nightlife on the weekends is a little different. But work, golf, can still do that stuff. So it's kind of hasn't really affected me in that way. But
Yeah. How's the shoulder doing, Reid? I know you're pretty banged up there at the end of the season there. How you doing?
yeah, it's not that great. I go in for an MRI June 18th. They think it's a torn labrum, so probably surgery to fix it. But so I don't know what the next hockey season's going to look like for that, but we'll see.
It's a long way away from the heart.
That's right. There you go. See, spoke. That's awesome, man. I love that. Reid, what happened? Like, how did you get hurt in the first place? Like, can you take us back to that? What happened? Was it just a freak incident or what?
Well, it actually didn't really happen at hockey. It happened at work, and then I took time off, and then I was like, "Oh, I thought it's pretty good." The physiotherapist said it was good, and I went back and fell again, and just like a weird incident where I extended my arm the wrong way, and it tore again. So I don't really know how what's a good word to say, but it's not really from hockey. So
Right.
it just the way I fell at work, it kind of tore my labrum, which is it helps. It's like a jar, right? So it's like cracking the seal in a jar, which is just releasing fluids into my shoulder, which is causing spasms all the time. So they can't really fix it, or they need surgery to fix it before I can do anything hockey wise.
I gotcha. Well, hopefully they sort everything out and you get all healed up, buddy. Chad,
Yeah, for sure.
It's funny. So when I speak about how COVID affects people in general, I mean, especially with the Senior A League, there were 6 teams that were in the thick of things. Yours was one of them. I guess when you found out that the season was going to come to an end and that Tillsonburg didn't get that opportunity to mount the epic comeback that was possibly there for the taking, how did you take that, and what was your general feeling of the situation at hand?
It sucked. Like, I mean, props to Clinton. They took it to us. Games 2, 3, and 4. And tough to say how the series would have went. But, I mean, if we had our guys show up, we maybe could have made a run back. And I know a couple guys were talking this was going to be their last year. So it's a shitty way for some of those guys that are going to retire or thinking maybe now, maybe come back, give it one more kick at the can. But, I mean, I was fine because I was pretty banged up too. And I'm an old fart now, so I don't have the legs like I used to. But I had to change my game, put it that way. I used to be all offense and run and gun and like to basically run the power play and all this. And the last couple of years here, I've had to take a step back and retool my game to the Senior A kind of style and pick my spots more often. So it was kind of one of those things. I was thinking it was going to maybe be my last year, depending on how the season went. And it was actually a nice, a breath of fresh air the way this season went with Tillsonburg compared to last year. And it's kind of left me the itch to come back and give her another kick of the can. So I guess I can say thank you to COVID for giving me one more year coming up here. But other than that, it was, it's tough for everybody. Like I said, this league this year was, pretty equal all around. You still had the teams, right? So, no, you still have the top teams, but any given night, like I said, it all depends on who shows up. Anybody can take a run for it. It's just one of those things. Every team experiences the same problems. They're not going to have their top guys there every single night or who all shows up. But for the most part, if everybody's top players are there, like you've seen in the playoffs here, it was wide open for the taking. So that's,
Did you find that Tilsonburg struggled with that, with numbers? Did you guys often battle that throughout the season?
Actually, like, to be honest, if you asked me that last year, it was like horrendous. Like, I mean, we went up. Reid was on the team last year, but we went up to
Ripley.
8 skaters, and one guy was injured, so he didn't even dress. So we had 7 skaters plus a goalie.
Right.
So we had 3D and 4 forwards dressed for the game. And it was like a reoccurring thing all year. I was only going to play part-time when they needed me, and I ended up like playing every game, like basically near the end of the year, just to make the lineup and be competitive. And we kind of finished off still in a half decent spot. But I mean, we had like on average maybe 10 guys a game on most of the games, I'd say, throughout the year. And it was that there, I was almost like, I'm done with this. Like, this isn't fun. It's not fun for anybody. But this year was like a complete turnaround. Like, it was actually fun again. The guys are all great. The new guys that came in, I know Staffy brought a bunch of guys from St. Thomas Junior B there, and they jumped and filled right in. And we got the camaraderie back with the boys. And like I said, it was a good time again this year in the room. And that's what makes, like, for me, that's why I play senior hockey now, right? So yeah, I'd like to keep the competitive edge, but I mean, the stuff with the guys after is just an added bonus. So
yeah, no, I understand that. At least from all the guys that I've spoken to, they've all said the same thing. Unless you're getting player dedication and turnout, your team's not going to be successful. You say Tilsonburg had a pretty decent time with that this past year, but from what I understand, Lucknow is a little bit different, right, Reid?
Yeah, for sure. Like, it's a lot of hometown guys, so they not too far from the rink, and we had, I wouldn't say the best numbers at practice, but like I said, guys work, and we understand that. It just comes with the territory of the league. So, but like majority home games and away games, we had the numbers to compete. But like, I feel like our record didn't show how we played through the year, but
Would you say, though, looking back on the past season, can you speak a little bit about how competitive was on any given night? I thought overall the league was probably the most balanced it's ever been. Would you agree with that?
Oh yeah, just I played a couple teams throughout the years, like Tilsonburg last year. Just from that, like when we faced Clinton Ripley last year, like, I mean, those guys were powerhouses, and
Right.
but this year, like, I just feel like even against Saugeen, we were like 2-goal games, and every team is just so much like equal now. I don't know if it's just because of the rule change or what, but it just was a better year overall. You just didn't know who was going to win on what night. It could have been anybody from bottom or top.
Sure. Hey, Chad, you've played in this league for a number of years now, and I think, what is your biggest takeaway from how the game has evolved from what it used to be to the way it is now? I mean, you're a perfect example of someone who could speak to that firsthand.
yeah, like I said, I think you got like the talent coming in is more spread out. You're not just getting, say, 3 or 4 guys coming to the league that are really dominant now. You're getting like 2 or 3 guys on each team coming in that are like can step up and fill in right away on your first or second line. So that helps the league overall, right? Because then it just makes your third and fourth line get better. And that's where I think the biggest difference is. Like, when I came into Tavistock after I was done playing in Europe, we had like the same team basically for 6 years. And that first year, we basically went through the league in first, and we lost to Tilsonburg in the playoffs. And I think it was just a bit of like, oh, we're king shit. We finished first in the league, and we're going to walk over everybody. And then it was like, I thought it was balanced, but I said, you can definitely tell now, like, the skill from team to team has really improved. And with the rule changes this year, it's made a big difference, because for the last couple of years there, it was kind of more about how much you're going to pay me to come play for you, rather than for the love of hockey. So I think, and I said, you've seen that it was evident this year, right? Every team, basically North and South, were balanced in any given night. Like anybody can beat anybody. It wasn't just one team taking or two teams taking the top players from other teams, or vice versa. Like trying to make just a two-team powerhouse in the WOA, right? So I think it was like the biggest change is like the rule changes. And I said some guys didn't come back because I don't think the money was there, but it balanced the league out very well, and the talent just got better 1 through 4. So
yeah, no, it was an unbelievable battle up top all season long. Really, it was, and like I mean, it's like, to be honest with you, like any one of those first round matchups on the AA side were must watch. All 4 matchups are just outstanding. Reid, I want to ask you first. So that series that you guys played against Petrolia, nice series. You guys win that. A nice best of 3. You win 2 in a row. Then you guys go on and face Tavistock. Unbelievable series, really. I mean, a couple games go to overtime. I know they swept you, but it was a lot closer than the series score would indicate, right?
Yeah, for sure. Like, obviously I didn't get to play, which is pretty unfortunate, but I think it was the best hockey that team's played all year that I've seen, at least playing and watching. They just put up a battle. Like, it was just hard fought hockey for a single A playoff in the second round. Like, that would have been a great final, but it wasn't. But I mean, I would have loved to see how that would have played out with Tavistock going on. But I just thought it was the best hockey that Lucknow's probably played in a little bit now, because that's like, yeah.
Do you think that that Lucknow learned a lot from that experience in that series with Tavistock?
Oh, for sure. Like, going into it, we were kind of thinking like, let's just try to get one under our belt, like kind of go out with a bang. We didn't really expect to go beat Tavistock just because of the caliber team they are. Like, they've got some really good players on their team. But I mean, like I said, for the amount of skill they had to us, I think we put up more than a fight they expected. That's for sure.
And then on the opposite side, Chad, I mean, you guys had an unbelievable first round against Saugeen Shores. You take that series and then you move on to Clinton. Now, from what I understand, there was a huge deciding factor in that Saugeen Shores series, and that was between the pipes.
Yeah, no, like I said, both goalies stood on their head. I mean, Tommy, like, I can't speak enough about Tommy Lee. He carried even the first game in Clinton there, but that was basically the deciding factor, and it was a hard, fought back and forth battle. And I said, kind of lucky for us, Miles McLean disappeared there on vacation in games, I think 5 and 6.
Right.
So that was a big help to us, because I played with him for 6 years, and he's a weapon. You get him, like, you need a goal, you put him out there, you get him the puck in the slot. It's 9 out of 10 times he's finding the back of the net. So that was one of our, I think, a key factor in that series too, was basically Saugeen missed their top player for game 4, 5, and 6.
Right.
So that kind of gave us the edge. And I said, like, Tommy stood on his head. And then when we went into round 2, that was a totally different story. Like, Tommy stole game 1 head, like, hands down. Like, we probably should have lost that game 6-1. We ended up winning 2-1.
Right. And
I said, then game 2, 3, and 4, there was a big kind of toss up, and I wasn't in favor with the league's decision. And we had a guy's was getting married at a buck and dole, and basically came down. We played 3 games in less than 44 hours.
Yeah, 3 and 3. That's right.
I haven't even done that my 4 or 5 years playing pro.
Wow.
So it was kind of like, what the hell's going on here? And we're kind of a bit of an older team, and it was, I know for me, it was taxing. Like,
oh, I can't imagine.
So I hope going forward that, the league looks at it more of like not a business too, and saying, okay, I understand playing 3 games if you have to go, but if it's under 48 hours, there's no, NHL doesn't even do that. So it's kind of one of those things, like, it was the same for both teams. I said it was just tough because 2 of the games we were missing our basically our best player, Michael Rebry. He's probably top 5 in the league easily. And I said he can take a game over just below him with the speed and vision and talent, and just it sucked having missing him. And I said you can tell by game 4 on that 3-game weekend we were just poached, nothing left in the tank. So, but props to Clinton, they fought through it, persevered, and put us on a stranglehold 3-1. And then COVID hit and kind of put an end to that misery for us. So
Sure. Reid, I want to ask you about your leading scorer, Cole Pellet. I was talking to him. I had him on the podcast early on, and he had a bunch to say about you that was a lot of praise. And I just want to ask you about him. Like, I mean, I know you kind of give me a little bit, but just how impressive of a player is he to watch firsthand?
Yeah, like he's not bad, I guess, but no, I'm just kidding. No, he's a really good guy. Just the speed on him, the shot, the dedication he's got towards the team, the league. He's just a fun guy to play with, to be within the locker room, just all around. But yeah, he deserves to be our top guy. Like he was all year, obviously, as the points would say.
Yeah.
But yeah, just him on the ice, like he's a threat. Just the speed, the size on him. He likes to do the puck battles in the corners, and he's coming out with it probably 95% of the time. So he's just a great guy to play with.
Right on, man. I love that. And then Chad, I want to ask you about your guys' leading scorer, Ryan Stevenson. How dynamic of a player and how much of a difference maker is he for the Tillsonburg Thunder?
oh God, he's one you can't replace in the locker room and just overall everywhere. Like he's probably one of the most like wittiest guys I've ever met. Like he has a comeback for everything, a saying for everything, and he can turn any mood around in the room in an instant just by some things he says. And I mean, it translates on the ice. Like you might not notice him or think like, oh, he's not the fastest, but just hockey IQ and just position and everything he does, it's all thought out. Like it's something you can't teach. And he's one of those guys that like he should be wearing the C, but he doesn't need to wear the C. Just guys respect him that much. And he just takes it out on the ice every time. So as for him, like I said, you can't replace him in the locker room. And I said, he's probably one of the funniest guys I've ever met in my hockey career. And just like, oh, can't say enough about him. So I hope
he's a weapon.
I hope he's back for another year. And so, because Tillsonburg would be at a big loss there if he didn't come back for another year.
Reid, this past season, I know, like you say, you battled injuries, you weren't able to get in a ton, but can you pick out a moment from the season that stood out above the rest?
I don't know. It's tough. There's just been so many like downs just with the injuries and stuff, but I don't know. It's hard to say. Just probably actually winning the playoff, like the first round, the Ace. Like even though I didn't play, just to be there and experience that with the guys is just like I don't think they've gone through from the first round in a couple of years now. So like just to get through that and see like how excited they were to get past the first round it was a good moment for the team. And
right on, man. I could appreciate that. Chad, same question to you. This past year in Tillsonburg, can you pick out one moment that stood above the rest for you?
Oh boy, it had to been our teddy bear toss night. There was
humble flex there, eh, buddy?
There was a couple things. We played Lucknow. So Reid was all hyped up, saying, "Oh, this is the time we're going to beat you and watch out."
Oh boy!
I had to say we kind of took the mop to him and used him as a cleanup rag on the ice. But no, there are some other things don't want to get into. But
sheesh.
some boys in the room were saying something, and Stevenson's just like, "Don't even worry about it, boys. You know who the teddy bear toss is going to score first goal. First shift, he calls it 2, goes out there, scores a teddy bear." And it was just the way it all happened was Ryan Stephenson moment, just calls it out, and first shift goes out and scores. And just with the stuff off the ice, kind of inside jokes here, that was probably one of the best moments of the year, just because of all the stuff that was going on. So, and we played, it was against my brother, so that probably had
that must have been a pretty cool moment overall. Like, from this past season, that was probably one that I took even from the season that was actually pretty interesting, is having you guys face off each other. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, like I said, the first, I'm sorry, I'll say this here, but it was kind of going back like the years. So like when I was playing hockey, I said he would always travel, and I was going through pictures the other day, and I said he was like still 13 years old coming to watch me play down in the States or in Europe. And one special moment was when I was in Europe, we were playing Red Bull at the time, and it was a pretty big night in ZLMC. I think the U.S. ski team was there, so like Lindsey Vaughn and all those. And then Reid was able to drop the ceremonial opening puck drop at center ice down Europe. And then I said, turns around 7 years later, we got the chance to play in Tavistock together. And of course, I had to set him up for his first goal. So I said that was pretty special with all our family there. And then I said we got a chance to play in Tillsonburg together again. And then this is our first time ever playing against each other, so that was kind of a treat, even though there's a 10 years age difference. But that's what it was. It's pretty fun. Like looking back at it, just knowing that like he was there watching me when I was playing pro, and he was only a 13-year-old kid. And he grew up watching me. Then I said, hindsight, we got to actually play together, and never thought we probably ever got to do that.
Right.
But luckily, thanks to the WOAA, my career going, and he was able to jump in so we could play together.
There you go. Hey, criticize Reid's game for me, Chad.
Oh.
Doesn't have his big brother out there to protect him.
Right.
No. He's good. Like I said, he has a lot of skill. It's just I wish I had his body when I was playing pro, because he's a big boy and I was a kind of skinny runt. So my game was, I had to use my vision and just hockey sense more, not to get run over. I wasn't a big hitter all the time. But I mean, he has better hands than probably I did, but I relied on my vision and hockey IQ, and my shot for the most part. Like I said, I could scare people with it. But Reid has a pretty heavy shot too, but I still think I take the cake in that one. So
hey, we should set that up. Hardest shot competition between you two. I think that's must watch.
See, that's right here, buddy. Yeah. Doesn't lose too much.
I don't.
All right, Reid. All right, Reid. Take your shot, man. It's your time to critique Chad for me.
Oh, where do I start? No. Yeah, like he said, I watched him growing up, and he was just kind of an unbelievable player. Like, I tried to be as good as him, but yeah, I would never do it. But he just, the puck control, like the hockey sense on him. He can hit guys that you wouldn't even see. Like, just watching him is just unbelievable. I just remember the one time he's playing in Tabby. A guy was coming out of the box, and at the far blue line, he's like behind the net and sauces it over both teams and lands right on the guy's stick for a breakaway. And like, I can't remember if it was like, was it the final shot or?
Well, I forget when it was, but
anyways, right on his tape. I actually think it was Miles McLean too, and he went down the breakaway, and the whole crowd like didn't even know what to do, like to cheer. Like, they were just so dumbfounded. It was unbelievable. But just his IQ, his vision on the ice, it's unbelievable. I've also seen him control a 2-minute penalty kill by himself. It's a little selfish, but I mean, no, he's unbelievable.
That's awesome. Now, Chad, I gotta interrupt because I gotta ask a question that was asked to me to ask to you. and that is if you could tell us about this glass breaking incident in Clinton.
Oh, so we're in Tavistock. So it all started back in junior. Like if you would have known me, I was 6'1", maybe 180 at the time, just skin and bones. And I was like known for my shot. So we were playing Orangeville the one game, and it basically got to the point, like when I wound up, people just like got out of the way. And it was Orangeville we were playing, and we had a set play off the draw. Comes back to me, I just quick walked the circle and let one go. Well, a kid came out, it was a new guy, and went to block it, but then he turned and left his arm open, and the puck hit him, and you can see it like his arm just folded back. It snapped his arm. Wow. So then when I was down in Europe, Reid was there. I was breaking the glass notoriously, but then I said there was fans that were offering me €100 during warm-ups to break a pint of glass. Oh, so if I break a pint of glass, they'd give me $100. So they just wanted to see someone break glass. So then we got to 4 years later, we were in Clinton, and there were some girls in the lobby taking a selfie, and they had their backs turned to the glass. And I said to one of the guys, watch this, I'm going to scare them. Go there, walk the top of the circle, boom, puck goes through the glass, shatter the glass. Oh, man. So we all start laughing. His name was Green. We called him Greener. There was a coffee cup sitting on the glass, the same piece of glass, pint of glass. And Greener goes to me, Swartzy, I bet you $20 you can't knock that coffee cup off the ledge there in the lobby. So I was like, all right, bet taken. Walk the top of the circle, boom. Put it right through the glass, knock the coffee cup off.
No.
So then our next time there, it was in the same year. I was like, should I go 3 for 3? Everyone's like, F off, Swartz. I want to get home early tonight. And I was like, oh, okay, just one more time. Walk the corner, boom. Same piece of glass. I actually felt bad because there was a lady sitting on the bench and I hit her. Oh. So the running story, I said, so yeah, 3 times in a row, I broke the glass in warm-ups in Clinton, trying to be a dumbass, just, so that was the whole thing. So at one point I could do that on command. I said I could try to break the glass, but I'm a little old now, so I don't quite have the shot I used to.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. I got to appreciate that story. That's great. I was really hoping it'd be something funny like that, and that's awesome.
The 3 girls, you could hear them scream. It was priceless. The first couple times were funny. The last one, the boys, it was a long trip home for me on the bus. So.
Oh wow. Hey, Reid, a question for you, pal. So you've played 3 years in the WOAA now, yep, with 3 different teams. Can we expect a 4th if and when the season comes back, or are you going to play for Lucknow again next year?
Yeah, just a suitcase of league, I guess. No, I don't. I'm probably going to go. I'm going back to Lucknow if I can play.
Yeah.
But that's all if, right? It's a one big if for me, and to see what's even going to happen with this whole pandemic thing. And if there's going to be a league next year, who knows? But I mean, I like it there. Good group of guys, really welcoming. There's actually a funny story behind that too, on how I even got to that team. One of my friends, Colin, we call him Duck. He texted me one Sunday afternoon. He's like, "Hey, do you want to come out for a skate?" I was like, "Sure." Love to get out before the season starts, kind of deal.
Yep.
So I'm like, "Where is it?" It's like, "Lucknow." I was like, "What the?" Okay, whatever, sure. I get out there, and then all of a sudden, coach comes around and gives us opinion. I was like, "Colin, what the hell is this? Is this a tryout?" And he's like, "If I would have told you, you never would have came." And I was like, you little shit. But yeah, so that's kind of how it all started. But I mean, I wouldn't take it back. Those guys are awesome, and they were so welcoming from day one. It was great. So
right on. And Chad, I guess if you did decide to come back next year, what number are you hitting there next year?
Oh shit, I don't know.
I 40 or what?
Huh?
Let me see if I can count it up here. I got your stat sheet in front of me here.
I think it's got to be.
Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in Tavistock, 3 in Tilsonburg. So it'd be number 11 if you did come back.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
Yes. Yeah, like I said, to be honest, I thought I was done after the whole debacle in Tavistock there. I didn't play all year, and then I went to had the itch to go back to hockey, and one of the guys I played down with in Florida messaged me just randomly on Facebook and was like, "Hey, do you want to come out for the blast? We need some defensemen." So I was like, "Yeah, sure, I'll go for a skate." And I put the skates on for the first time in a month, and I almost fell on my face. I was so out of shape and just uncoordinated. But I ended up going out for a few tryouts or skates with them. I ended up signing, and I said, as soon as I signed, Dave McLaren, the old coach in Tavistock, called me and said, "Swartz, what are you doing?" I was like, "Oh, I just signed in Brantford." And he's like, "Oh, we're putting a playoff run or push together here in Tilsonburg." He's like, "You want to come play?" And I was like, "Heck yeah." I was like, to be honest, I said, I don't want to be driving to Toronto and all that way to play hockey. Like I said, the pay would have been nice, but I said, for me, it's not about the money. So I basically, 3 practices with Brantford, said, no, sorry, went back to Tilsonburg, but then there was a little bit of a hiccup. I couldn't get my release from Tavistock. So then luckily I was able to get 5 games in after the deadline, and it was fun to be in Tilsonburg that year. And we, I think Clinton was a powerhouse all year. They didn't lose. And we beat them twice in round 2, I believe, and the series was tied 2-2, and the better half went to Clinton. But it kind of bring back the passion for the game again. So I was on board for going back for last year, and I said that was kind of a downer, but this year was a fun year again. So I basically already told them, I said, yeah, you can probably count on me coming back. So I guess it'll be my 11th year.
Well, there you go. You heard it here first on the podcast.
Yeah.
Chad Swartzentruber coming back for year number 11.
Breaking news headlines.
So
Yeah. Breaking news. You know, that's like I don't have the sound effects that Tim and Sid have. But anyways.
So yeah, like I said, I just you can't leave it on a year like this, how it ended with COVID.
Right.
I just hope, like I said, I just hope some of the guys that were thinking about retiring do come back, because it was a really fun year. Not just like with the guys again, but I mean the league, like just the competitiveness of the league. Like every team, like for instance, Milverton probably would have one of the hardest times. I even say Lucknow. But I mean, even team to team, like the camaraderie with the guys, especially like I can speak myself for Milverton. Like I knew a lot of guys on Milverton, and after even our games in Tilsonburg, we would maybe go to Nicky's Roadhouse, and I would join the Milverton guys, and we'd get a few beers and catch some maybe other things at Nicky's. But I mean, it was just, like I said, it's I don't know, it's a great time. Like I said, especially now that the hockey is better, and it's like not your, I don't dread going to here, I dread going to there. Like any team on any night could have beat you, and it happened. Like I said, big shocker, Tavistock and Lucknow. Like Tavistock, hands down, probably should have been in the A or the double A side, and been a contender too.
It would have been.
And I thought like it was a write-off for me when they drew up against Lucknow in the second round. I was like, oh, it's going to be a cakewalk. And I said every game was a hard-fought battle. So
sure was.
It just goes to show you how much the league has changed, and it makes it funner by those intense battles every night. It's just not like another night, oh, it's going to be a blowout, 10-1, 11-1. It's like you better tie your laces up tight, because she's going to be a battle tonight. So
absolutely. Guys, I hate to do this, but I'm running out of time here. Reid, I'll give you the last word. Why would anyone want to come and play in Lucknow? What would you say to that?
Guys, like great group of guys, like the team, awesome coaches, the staff are just great town to play in. Really, they don't really have a lot of bars or anything around up there, so like the whole town is committed to that team. Like you go there on a Saturday night, and the Blue Line Club there is a pretty good spot. So, I mean, just if you like the small town feel in hockey towns, like that's a good one to play in for sure.
Well, there you have it, folks. Playing Lucknow next year. Chad Swartzentruber and Reid Swartzentruber, my guests on the WOA podcast. Guys, thanks for joining me.
No,
Thanks for having us.
Keep up the good work. You're making the league more noticeable this year, so makes it
sure.
easy for my grandparents to follow everything. So I thank you for it.
No problem. No problem. Thanks, guys. That's awesome. Once again, want to thank Reid and Chad for joining me on the podcast, the WOAA Senior AA Men's Hockey League podcast. I also want to say, thank you very much for watching. We want to remind you of what's to come on Friday. The next episode in the podcast will be Scott Stafford from the Tillsonburg Thunder. So we look forward to having Scott on. It'll be great to talk with him. I want to thank Mitch Scott from Starting Lineup, Uniform and Apparel. I also want to thank you, the viewer, for continuing to watch each and every episode. Without the support of and without the viewership of you guys, it wouldn't, this wouldn't be possible. And I really do appreciate you guys taking the time to enjoy them, and I enjoy bringing them to you. So we'll definitely speak to you soon. Like I said, next episode is Friday. We'll see you then. I am Andrew Rogers, the host, saying so long. We'll see you next time.